I'm a guest.
Peace and blessings. Welcome to I Am the Data. I am one of your hosts, Jeanne Muhammad, and I am so excited today because I have the opportunity to interview my co-host or we host together, but I mean
Yeah,
other host, the creator, the mastermind, the energy behind I am the data. Don't be shaking your head. I am the data. And the
yeah,
one
definitely.
reason that I am so excited about interviewing Nathaniel Evans, the founder of I Am the Data, is because he is so humble. And I am always looking for that quality in a person because it tells me a lot about that person, about when they have that humility. And I'm not going to embarrass Nathaniel today with all the accolades that I could lay on him because I could use this entire program talking about this beautiful human being. So, with that, I want to introduce to some and reintroduce to others and have him just say a few words about himself before I dive deep into the inner workings of Nathaniel Evans. Nathaniel?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be in this space. I'm Nathaniel Evans, as Jeannie said. The inspiration for Data came to me, and I actually moved forward with that. I focus more on energy, leadership, redemption, and spirituality. So I believe that with these elements, just these four elements right here, we can recreate the fabric of our lives. We can take us from 0 to 1,000, right? And we not only when we change our lives, and I've learned this personally, when we change our lives personally, we also change the lives of those that we interconnect with in this on this platform. This place that we call Earth. We can build the lives of strangers, of friends, of lovers, even of enemies. We can actually change the hearts and minds of our enemies in the land to make them become friends to us because of the
Mhm.
righteousness that we actually, distilled upon them. So we have the power to change, the universe the same way a tree has the power to change a barren land into that of beauty, and substance.
Oh, Nathaniel, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And that is one of the reasons that you intrigue me because you are not just a surface person. A lot of us operate from the surface, and what we give is just from the surface. But you are an individual that goes, and sometimes we use this phrase, oh, he's so deep, or she's so deep. And sometimes we use it to the extent that it loses the depth of it because there are people that go far beyond the surface. And you're one of those people. I want to know, I want to know about the child, Nathaniel.
The
I
what?
want to know about when Nathaniel was 10 years old.
God.
I know. Come on, let's
when
dig
when
deep.
Nathaniel was 10 years old, wow. Um, that's taking me way back. But yeah, that guy there was something else. You know, my mother was always pick on me because I was so self-directed. Right? She didn't have to cater to me. I had three sisters, and I actually helped her with those daughters that she had. And she'd be like, "I'm going out to do something. Don't worry about it. They're gonna eat. They're gonna drink. Everybody's gonna be taken care of." And And I remember, when she started going to time, so I was talking about,
Okay, we're having a
know,
little okay with your sound there. Are you your sound was a little off, Nathaniel, and I don't want our audience to miss not a word of what you're saying. Okay,
am I back?
Nathaniel. Okay, go ahead. You were talking about this 10-year-old that's taking care of his 3 sisters.
And my mother, yeah. And my mother, I would go out, and pack bags in the community, in the supermarket. I would go and fix, for people in the community. Even I just called that, and I used to actually accumulate resources for my mother. And I remember when I used to give her this $30 or $50, she'd just be taken aback, and she was like, wow, I really have a helper in the land. I have someone that can actually assist me. And from that education, I was also a person that actually protected my friends in the communities. I was actually the peacemaker, and I was actually very aggressive, but I was aggressive in the ways of actually establishing boundaries that let men know just because I have a peaceful heart, that doesn't mean that you can take advantage of me and override me. So
Yes.
that 10-year-old was actually the foundation that I used throughout my life, to keep myself afloat. Even though I went through many trials and tribulations, I still was able to tap into that raw energy when I was youth, when I was a youth, to actually move my life forward and continue to give my life a sense of purpose. Basically, what this topic is, what I would say on purpose, to give my life a sense of purpose. Because at these young ages, we have to start creating purpose in our lives so they can actually follow us actually through the time. What I would say, actually fill up your reservoir. So when you get thirsty, you have something to drink.
Yes, Nathaniel, that 10-year-old. That 10-year-old kind of went off course for a minute. That 10-year-old got thrown off course and went into a phase of Nathaniel Evans' life that I see as really, it may have been looked at as a dire situation at the time, but I see that it truly cemented what was in that 10-year-old, the service for his community, the compassion that you have for people when you veered off and ended up in the belly of the beast.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what,
but you know, yeah.
go ahead, talk about it.
No, you got to ask the question. Yeah, I need to know. I need to.
Okay. All right. I want to know is what caused that veering off.
Mm. Yeah, I've thought about that a long time. Even when I was going through my changes in the land on a spiritual level, I remember meeting these two young guys. I had experience, but they seemed to have a lot more experience than I did. And through my relationship with them, they pulled me into a dark space. I followed them in the name of friendship and actually caused severe harm against myself and my infrastructure of my family and my friends, and even the community that I was actually living in. Not the fact that I was doing a lot of harm in my community, it was the fact that I was no longer there to do good in my community, that actually harm my community. We actually think that by us not being in our communities, that our communities don't miss us, that the energy of who we are does not have significance. But in my case, it actually did, because the bonds that I created, before I was incarcerated were diminished, what I mean, after my release. I didn't have the same core values that I had within my communities because I was gone. And people, missed my energy. They forgot about who I was, what were my accomplishments in the land. And I had to actually start over, not just in actually obtaining materialisms, but actually also obtain the hearts, the minds, and the souls of the people that I used to have these great relationships with. And now I'm in a space where I have to start all over again. And I think that was a major effect against my spirit, what actually caused me to really not tap in on a level that I was actually on, and I lost a lot of spiritual momentum.
Okay, Sandy Freese. I hope I pronounced your name right, Sandy. She says that she's interested in finding out how you do what you do. And I'm going to get to that because I want to deal with, uh, we're on a journey here. I'm learning more about Nathaniel Evans and his foundation. What prompted him to come into the Nathaniel Evans that we see today and why he does what he do. So Sandy, I am going to find that out for you because I'm interested in learning that also. Okay, Nathaniel, you veered off and went into this space where you found yourself in prison. When you were in prison, what was it that you found within yourself that helped you to survive?
Hmm. Actually, I was in a prison structure one day and I was going through it. And I just stopped. My son said, stop and look around. So when I stopped and looked around, I started seeing familiarities. I started seeing things that was connected to the communities that I actually grew up in. I actually started seeing mailboxes on the corner. I was seeing fire hydrants on the corner. I was seeing bars on windows that symbolizes the project complexes that I basically was surrounded around. And my spirit said they created this thing in correlation to the communities that you lived in. And it becomes so natural for you to be here because they mimic your communities when they actually created this structure. And I
Mm.
remember saying that this is a systematical trap. This was designed on purpose, whether it was me here or not. It could be another entity, but it was designed on purpose to snatch lives so it can feed off of them. And I started realizing that I was in a place not of redemption according to a societal state, but redemption for my own sake. I removed myself from the punishment of the system to find peace within myself.
Okay, now that is very interesting because a lot of people that are in that situation, they don't take that time to do that introspection and to understand exactly why they are where they are and what the system is designed to do. So, how long had you been in that position before you took time to just stop and look inward? How long had you been there?
It was years because I did 11 years. So it had to be about 3 to 4 years before it really dawned on me what was actually happening and taking place in my life. For me, for me to be able to tap back in. And then I started seeing the same behaviorisms in my community that I was in within the prison structure. So I said, I did not escape my society. It actually followed me because those same mannerisms, those same behaviors that was in my society is actually in here, and it's actually tenfold, right? So I had to start realizing that it is time for me to tap into the core of me other than the core of it, right? Because when you live in a prison environment, you actually start becoming that environment itself. So like, for instance, you go into a prison environment, they got all these rules and regulations that your peers have created that you must follow. Not the Department of Corrections, not the administration of correction, but the individuals that's incarcerated themselves. They have created structures and laws that you have to abide by if you actually want to survive that ordeal.
Mm. So you, Nathaniel, on purpose, and that's what we're talking about, how we do things on purpose. You decided on purpose that you were no longer, you were where, like the Bible says, you may be in the world, but you're not of the world. So you were in prison, but you decided not to be of prison. Am I correct in saying that?
That's correct. That's correct. That is 100% correct, because while I was in there, I'm singing all the time. I'm smiling all the time. I'm saying positive accolades to myself and to others as I pass them, in the corridors. It can be a warden, it can be a captain, it can be my fellow peer. It didn't matter to me. I came to a point where everybody that was in there, and there was no separation. There was no respect of persons. And I moved according to that spirit. And that spirit allowed me to navigate through a system that was designed to oppress me. I was able to relieve myself of that oppression to the point where when I came home, the warden that was of the last prison, one of the last prisons I was in, recognized me and called me by name when I went to a conference. So I knew that he recognized me because according to my spirit and the type of individual that I actually projected myself and basically instilled myself to become.
Okay, so you set out on a course of redemption, and at the time that you started doing this, you started redeeming self first. You started
Yes.
on that journey of redeeming self first. What books did you read? Who did I know? See, I know because I know that Nathaniel is a reader. And I know that you're not, as you said, a respecter of persons, that you read all ideologies and you take from each one the best of that will aid you in becoming a better human being so that you can better serve humanity. So what were some of the books that you started reading?
I read the Bible. I read the Quran. I read books by like L. Ron Hubbard dealing with metaphysics. You know, I read books on spirituality. I even read books on leadership. Even some of the books that, that I felt I wasn't supposed to read, I tapped into them books that was actually talking about, the urban cities and expressing the guns and the violence and stuff like that, because I had to see what was the intellectual purpose of men and women that actually created these books. Like, why did they actually create these books? So I actually read some of these books to find out that these books was more detrimental to our people than actually beneficial, right? So I actually created a wealth of knowledge that extended I'm just going to be a spiritual person. I'm just going to be a person that thinks about business, or a person that want to learn how to jog for 20 miles. It was books that actually that catered to a whole host of humanity, so I can actually interact with humanity on different levels. So you
Oh no,
yeah,
I totally
yeah,
understand that. I totally understand that, because that is something that resonates with my spirit, because that's the way I am. I sometimes read things, people would be like, why is she reading that? But I am a firm believer, like you really cannot get a grasp on the truth of humanity until you delve into all aspects of it. So that's what you
yeah,
did. And that's, go ahead.
because all humanity, every nation believes that they are special. They believe that they are more essential than the next nation, right? Every man believes that he's more powerful than the next man. Every woman may believe she's more sexy, or she might have more sex appeal, or she may have more beauty than the next woman. And if we start understanding those philosophies and the psychologies, we are able to actually tap in and show people that we are one and the same. There is no separation of us. If you fall in a link of one of the links of the chain was a snap, the whole chain is at fault. The whole
Mm,
chain, the whole chain breaks down, right? So
yes.
you can't lose links inside the chain. And humanity is a link. It's links of itself. It constantly creates more links. It's like when I was reading the Bible earlier, it was talking about Esdras, and it was talking about his lineage. It went from his great 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 grandfather, right? Those are all links to his chain. The chain that he's swirling around. I'm alive. I'm alive. I can do what I want to do. I'm gonna go get me a slice of pizza. I'm gonna go marry a beautiful woman. I'm gonna have 100 kids. He's only able to swing around that chain because of the links of the other chains that he actually came from. So
Yes.
without those links of humanity, he would not be here to basically boast, right? He won't be here to create or to develop or even to destroy. He wouldn't be here because those links broke off, right? My daughter asked me a
Yes.
question. She's 12 years old. She asked me a question the other day. She said, Dad, we were to go to a family function. Do you think it'd be right for me to hug family members that I don't even know? And I said, well, yes, it would be right for you to hug them because you do know them. And she said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, because without one of them actually catering, you know what I'm saying, to the development of life, you might not be here because I might not be here. So you have to honor
Yes.
that lineage that you're coming from. You don't know which lineage actually brought me to this plane, right? Who hooked up with who and where they met? Or she was late for her bus and she met Mr. Harry and Mr. Harry, right? And she was like, "Oh, I got late for my bus," and all of a sudden, Harry Jr. is here and Harry Jr. went and that's so without without that type of connection, some of us wouldn't even be here. So we have to actually start honoring one another in the land, right? We have to start paying homage to one another. I walked in my community the other day with my son, and there was a lot of brownstones I saw, and there was a lot of old people that was in those brownstones. And as I went through the block, I was saying hi to the people, and they would turn their face away from me. They wasn't even saying hello back, right? And I was
Wow.
saying, this is not the energy that you want to be connected to within the communities that you're occupying. When you go through your community, when you go through your land, you want the energy to rest because energy is going to allow you to build on planes that
Yes.
you can't even imagine. But because we don't give each other that energy, it's hard for us to grow and it's hard for us to develop. what I'm saying? Because we're not giving
Yes.
each other that type of energy. Hold on for a second, because we need that energy.
And
We,
and
we
and
need
I
that
want,
energy.
because what Nathaniel is saying, you're doing that on purpose. You're doing it
Yeah,
on purpose. You're doing it consciously because you understand that energy and you understand how we're all connected,
that's right.
and you're
Yeah,
doing it
because
on purpose.
you're doing a okay. So imagine there was 20 people that lived on your block, and y'all never spoke to each other. Y'all didn't know the name of one another's children. Y'all didn't know the name of one another's dog, right? Y'all didn't even know what occupations that y'all was doing, or even religious beliefs or whatever. And let's say, for instance, that all 20 of y'all met on another plane, right? What would actually stop this disconnection from continuing when y'all actually never connected in the first place?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Right? Because now it's
That
we're another plane and we mad joyful, we singing praises, we doing psalms, right? We saying hi to each other now because we're on another plane and we don't want to be not connecting as we supposed to connect, right? So now we're gonna wait to the next plane and we're gonna connect on that next plane instead of connecting now. So when we meet each other on the next plane, we can say hi to each other and we can be in great spirits with one another.
And you know, that is so profound, Nathaniel, because we know what we have right now at this moment, but we don't know what the next moment is going to bring. So,
That's
what
correct.
we have now, we can on purpose use that to elevate each other and to go into a higher level of understanding of each other. And that's why I am striving to understand you better, Nathaniel, because I see so much in you. I see so much that uh, will help to elevate other people that will be coming out of where you came from, but they don't see the hope. They don't see any light that their lives will be able to be better because of the situation they may presently be in. So, what is it that motivates you to keep going, that motivated you to keep going, even when it seemed like it was dark and despair? What was it that was that light for you that kept you moving?
I realized then, as I realize now, that life is a blessing, you know, and that life was given to me on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mishap. It was strategized. It was structured, and it was executed to the point where I'm now able to be a life force in the land with many other different levels of life forces. Right? I asked somebody the other day. I said, if you go outside and you saw an ant farm, would you walk up to the ant farm and just stomp it out?
Mm,
And he was like, I probably would. And I said, that is a disconnect to our lives because you haven't realized and it never came across your mind that the ant also has a family that's looking for it to
mm,
come back to them, right? You're not paying attention, right? You're not paying attention that the ants gonna they aunts and uncles, they sisters and brothers, the children is gonna miss this ant because this ant is not bringing any food in to the household that they constructed.
oh,
They
wow.
depend on this ant to come in and bring forth life into this structure that they have constructed on the earth with you. They here with you. They're not aliens. They're not foreigners, right? They don't need papers to be here. They're here already, right? So for you
Right.
to say, yo, listen, I'm just gonna stomp them out, right?
Mm,
Because I have the power to do so actually states within your heart that if you became a great man in a land, let's say economically or full of power, that you would take your same foot and step on those that you deem to be less fortunate than you, right?
Oh, yes. And that is one of the things that keep us from elevating as humanity, because we do not see the connection of all. We do not even think about what that little butterfly is bringing into our existence. We don't think
That's
what the
right.
that ant is bringing into our existence. We don't think that we don't understand that our creator created everything on purpose with a purpose, and we're all interconnected. I just want to take the time to thank Sandy Alonso, Empowering Real Talk, Keisha,
Yeah, that's Keisha.
aka yes, for being here with us. Because as Keisha says, it is deep how we're all connected. It is deep. And that's one thing that I guess the reason I gravitate towards you, Nathaniel, is because you do understand that, and you do grasp that, and you are not shy about saying it. You're not shy about acknowledging how grateful you are for being a part of this great universe. So,
That's correct.
Nathaniel, what was the greatest lesson that you learned from your experience? What was the of coming out, and we're moving along this life track, and we're coming to the end of this experience that you had in the belly of the beast. What was the greatest lesson that you could think of that you learned from that experience?
I believe my greatest lesson was actually is to be grateful for your gifts, right? To appreciate the gifts that you have in life and don't squander them and take them for granted.
Mm,
Because everything that has been given to you, your intellect, your ability to rationale, your ability to increase others, to save lives, are gifts. It's not something that you actually say, you know what, I'm going to go out there and save lives, right? Even for you to even think or even have that propensity, I'm saying, of heart to change lives, that gift had to be instilled in you first before you was able to act on that gift. So we have to understand that the things that we have now that we take for granted, they are gifts, right? And one does not basically lose appreciation for their TV if it's still in the living room. When somebody steals the
mm-hmm.
TV, now they say, "Oh my God, my TV! I can't watch my favorite show." What's going on?
Oh,
My TV is
yes.
gone, right? So now all of a sudden, when the gift has been snatched from you, or you're not able to perform on a level that you used to with the gift, now you feel depleted. Now you
Right.
cry out. You cry out for the gift to receive that gift back that you said was meaningless, and that you said, I can recreate that gift anytime I want to.
Mm,
Right?
wow.
No. The fact that you have gifts is a blessing that you have actually obtained those gifts. Remember what I said, obtain those gifts. You didn't go out there and do something for those gifts. Those gifts was actually given to you according to who you are and what is your purpose in this life consists of. Many people think their purpose in this life is to get money, to get cars, to dominate men and women, to mastermind the life of their children. No, the purpose of this life, according to what I see, is for you to live the life that was given to you on purpose, and for you to magnify that life to the point where you actually able to transcend on a higher plane. You continue to have purpose for your life.
Oh, yes, yes. So that is your greatest lesson, learning the lesson of gratitude and understanding the gifts that you were given on purpose for you to fulfill your purpose, your reason for being here. So, okay, now, Nathaniel, you find yourself a free man. I say free quotes because, you know, you're no longer incarcerated. And you come out, and here, after 11 years, you're faced with a new reality of things. And your first thoughts, what were your first thoughts when you say, I have an opportunity to build on the lessons that I have learned? What did you decide you were going to do?
My first step, because I actually created relationships while I was incarcerated with organizations. So my first thing was actually go into those spaces, volunteer, and basically increase the foundation I created while I was incarcerated. Because I was doing the same work during my incarceration that I did when I actually did come home. So I actually just followed that same path. There was no reason to recreate the wheel. I've already created the wheel, or the wheel was actually given to me to create, and I actually continue down that path.
Okay, so you started on the redemption of Nathaniel when you were incarcerated, and then you started on the path of helping others to understand that they could also follow that path of redemption while
That's
you were
correct.
incarcerated.
That's correct. That's correct. That's right.
Okay, so did you set up programs? Did you have programs already set up,
Uh,
or did
yeah, I actually was going from dorm to dorm, doing motivational speaking on various topics to my peers. Changing our lives, being responsible as men. You know, taking baby steps to recreate the lives that we actually destroyed and squandered, within our societies, and actually finding deeper cause for our lives to blossom on. So I actually started this work within. I did a lot of facilitations and things of that nature within that structure that will also get towards helping men, to reestablish their lives and find meaning in actually who they are, and not to get into a space where I'm meaningless because I'm in prison. I was at a presentation of a day with some youths, and we asked them, what is your take on people that's in prison? And all the youths, they all said that they're meaningless. They have no purpose. You know,
mm,
they basically throwaways of society because they destroy society, right? So we have this concept that's actually been spreading like a wildfire through our communities, our hearts, minds, and our souls. That individuals that actually found themselves in spaces that men constructed for men to occupy are now no longer a part of the human race.
wow. Nathaniel, I see in when you're relating your story, I can see how possibly your being in prison was actually a blessing, not only for you to crystallize who you are, because I don't believe in coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that it was just a coincidence that you ended up. I can see where you were a blessing to other people by being there, and that you were a light for some people by being there. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see that. I see that. I don't believe in coincidences either, but I do believe that we have multiple paths that set in front of us, but they all lead in the same direction. So there are times when we could take the easy way of that path, or we could take the hard way of that path. But according to our purpose for existence, because we're here to elevate, we're we're here to transcend to higher levels, right? And because this is a gift to give to us to elevate, our inner being is going to find every cause possible to make sure that we stay on course. So even if we have to go through the easy way or the hard way, it's still according to our path and it's still according to our course. And this is why we find ourselves venturing through multiple layers, you know what I'm saying, to get back to that one foundation.
Okay. And and on that, that's why I can see that and this is something that just came to my head, why you did not end up back in prison, because you learned the lesson that life wanted to impart to you while you were in prison. So you don't have to go down that path again. You don't have to
That's
go to
correct.
travel that road again, because you learned what life wanted to give you.
Yeah, plus it was really difficult to go down that path because my feet wouldn't allow me to do so. I think that once you build yourself up to a certain level, it's really hard to actually make that about face, right? Because on a introspective level that if you make that about face, you're never going to return forward.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So
mm-hmm.
once you tap in, you have to stay tapped in, even when you fall, because the Most High said, "The righteous man shall fall 7 times and get back up." Even if you fall, you make sure you fall in a direction that you were designed to go in. So when you get back up, you can actually dust yourself off and continue back into that direction. Don't fall into a darker space and have to fight your way out the hole to get yourself back to your level, because many people, when you fall into a dark space, they're not going to come and find you and they're not going to help you come out of the hole. So you have to be really careful about who your friends are, who your families are, you know, because when you fall, you need individuals that's going to see your light and to help you come back to your stance and not to push you deeper into an unwarranted space.
Nathaniel, what do you see in humanity that gives you hope? What do you see in the vast humanity, that in this world where so many people do not see us as connected, do not see, what gives you hope? What motivates you to keep doing what you do? And we're gonna talk about what you do. So
Yeah, and I to me, it's a simple thing. What gives me hope is that I still see that life is being created and life is still increasing, right? So if life was not a beauty, it would have stopped creating a long time ago, right? We would get new trees, we would have no more, we won't have no more honey because the bees are not out there, giving us no honey, right? We wouldn't have life and love and new children that's brought into the world. So this actually shows us that life is worthy of itself because it continues to increase. So when you find yourself in a dark space and you're saying life doesn't mean anything, go online and find out how many children was born on that day that you said life has no purpose.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I,
that
I had
gives
never
us hope.
quite thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's hope. That gives us hope that life continues. Wow, that's amazing. That life continues. Through all your despairs, your hardships, your trips, your falls, your achievements, regardless of what element of life that you're in, life will continue to increase itself.
Wow. And that's beautiful, because we can even look at, now we're going into the fall. And so we see the leaves changing. And yes,
Yeah,
we see life is in that cycle, you
yeah.
know.
It's like bring it. I'm ready for you. You know what I'm saying? like you
And
thought you
it's
had me. You know, nah, you ain't got me. I'm still moving. You ain't got me. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what it tells
yes,
us. As it continues, it's telling us, yo, man, I got you. I got this. I'm gonna show you. We're gonna keep on moving forward. And as we and it,
that
like any
yes,
that's it. Because any successful man or woman to tell you that they only successful because they continue with the energy, you know what I'm saying, that they tapped into to create more energy, right? Or if they would have stopped the energy that they was working on, we wouldn't know who they are today, right? So they have to continue, right, with that same energy, regardless of they was up or down. They had to continue to bring forth life into their lives and also into the world.
and I hope that in your answers, that Sandy's question is being answered in finding out the how of what you do. And
Yeah,
I see it, you're able to do what you do because of that hope and that faith that you have found in the cycles of life.
yeah. I mean, Sandy question was deep. How or what he does, it was a deep question. It actually goes into from looking from my perspective that even when I'm no longer here, life continues. So I do what I do because life is going to continue with me or without me. This is my how. To know that life is a blessing, is something of abundance, right? And it will never let you down, right? It's here to make sure that you reaches your highest potential. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have to be able to breathe oxygen from the trees, right? You wouldn't you wouldn't be able to get any comfort from the wind when it's steaming hot outside. You just pass out, right? Because everything is on you. Life finds its way to comfort you as an individual, right? When you're in your darkest moments, and to increase you in love when you seek in that light. It actually comes to you and say, "Hey, man, I'm here." Don't
Yes.
forget that I'm here. I was one day I was on the train. I was in the train station. I'm listening to my music, my little focus music or whatever, and something hit my spirit. Bam! So I paid attention. I said, "What's up?" So it said, that man right there. Go speak to that man right there, right? And I'm looking, and it happened to be a police officer. So
Mm.
I walked over to him, right? I said, "Excuse me, sir. How you doing today?" He said, "I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay." I said, "Well, my spirit told me to ask you a question. So I'm going to ask you a question." I said, "I don't know why ask me, but I'm going to ask you this question." So he said, "Okay." I said, "Well, sir, how do you feel about life?" And, and he said, you know, he said, "Man, because of the people I'm dealing with and the things that I'm seeing, I don't really care for the life of other people like that. I don't really care for life like that."
Mm.
And I looked at him and I said, "Now I know what my message was to you." I said, "The Most High telling me to tell you to keep the end in mind, for we are all going to the same place. So make
Wow.
sure that you care for others and cater for others, instill compassion and mercy upon the lives of others when you're able to do so, and keep your end in mind, because this is what's going to be your blessing. This is what's going to save you at the end if you keep your end in mind, to understand that we are all in this life together. We're all evolving to that one purpose, is to continue to have life as a purpose."
Wow. That I'm sure that conversation changed his mind about some things, because that would give him something really to think about, something maybe that he had not even contemplated before, about the people that he interacts with on a daily basis. He had probably removed himself really from thinking about these people as people, that have lives, as people that, have some of the same needs and wants that he had.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and there again, Nathaniel, you talked about going into the study of metaphysics, and I know that that is something that you are truly interested in. So when you are dealing with people, do you see them as they are, or do you see them as God intended for them to be?
Yeah, it's I guess it would be element of both, because metaphysics needs one component to reach another. That's how metaphysics works, right? Without this point, you can't get to that point. But it's actually
Okay.
showing you from this point, you can project yourself to a whole nother point. You can take yourself from one space out of another space without even moving, literally, like actually not even moving. Like you're standing right there, but you're on a beach in Hawaii, right? Is a space where, you know what I mean, you get to learn that everything is not what you see it to be, right? You'll see people
Mm-hmm.
that may be, you know, what you say dangerous people, or you may see people that made you feel disgruntled or angry. But it's only because you're looking at the surface. You're not looking at the metaphysical response that's actually taking place in their lives, that's actually causing them to move into this space, into this reality. So a lot of times we have to separate the person from the reality, right? So they actually can have a chance of life the same way that you have actually explored life. Because people say, I'm a master of this, or I'm a master of that, right? And they might have mastered something, but they won't willingly give the gifts and tools to other people so they can
Mm.
also master the same. They actually take the mastery that they have, and they keep it to themselves. And they don't allow other
Right.
people to learn these mastery tools in the same way. You know what I'm saying? They become selfish with their gifts. They become possessive with their gifts instead of sharing it naturally, you know what I'm saying, as it was actually naturally shared with them. They may say, I paid a course to get this gift. No, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. You was introduced to this gift for a price, but you didn't pay a price for the gift. You was introduced to something
Yes.
that will allow you to tap in further into that was actually given to you so you can get more clarity and more understanding. But you do not own the gift, and you have not mastered a gift because it was given to you, so you cannot master it. The one that master it is the one that gave it to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for sharing yourself with us. And I know that there is so much more. An hour is not enough time for me to just dig deep into Nathaniel Evans, because there is so much that you have to offer that I am constantly in awe of the things that you say and the knowledge that you bring. And I want to thank our audience for being here today to share in this with me, getting to know you better. And before we depart today, I want to know what it is, the thought that you would like to leave with our audience, to just maybe put them in a better space, because you've said so much already, to put them in a better space of understanding how powerful we all are and how the gifts that we have been given are to elevate us and to help elevate others. Is there any parting thought that you would like to leave with us today?
Yeah, basically mimic what you just said, that we need to know that we have the right to live on purpose, and that the gifts that was given to us for we could actually live on purpose, right? And to not always constantly take ourselves outside of ourselves to find a purpose, because the purpose of us is not out there. You're looking for the purpose of us out there, and you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it in your car, your plane, your house, or your Benjamins, or whatever you want to call them. It's not going to be there, right? You can have all those things and still be hollow within your spirit. You can have all those things and still have a heart and heart against the world, right? So it's understanding that the gifts that you have is for you to basically cherish those gifts, but also to share those gifts with the life of others, so that you can continue to have those same gifts for your life, or even greater gifts. Because if we're not able to share the small gifts, how do we actually get to the bigger gifts? You know, how do
Whoa.
we learn from the small gifts to increase us in greater levels? Right? So it's understanding by working with the small things, the small gifts that we have, it opens up doorways for us to do greater things. And not everybody's going to understand your gifts. Some people are going to close the doors against your gifts. That's why a lot of our prophets was persecuted in the land. They was killed. They was hung. You know, they was mutilated. They was humiliated. You know what I'm saying? Because not many people understood their gifts, right? And I think that having a gift is to understand that sometimes you may be ostracized because of your gift, right? And you may not have
Mm-hmm.
all the intricacies to tap into that gift, but I would say this: to continue to strive to get to know the gifts of you, right? And eventually you will tap in. You will find what you was looking for, and it will give you that peace, that humility, and that gratitude that you need for your life. So when you pass over, you be in a space of peace, humility, love, and gratitude, and not in a space of anguish, bitterness, or hate.
Thank you, Nathaniel Evans, for sharing yourself with us today on I Am the Data. And now I want to take us into that space of peace. And this is the music that I'm going to share with us is not, I don't own the rights to this music, but I am want to share it with us because it does bring us into a space of peace. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. We're going to take a journey. There is a door in front of us. Open that door. On the other side, we're in Hawaii. We're on a beach with clear white sand. The water is blue, so blue. We hear birds chirping in the background. As we look out on this blue, blue water, we relax. We feel peace. We're taking deep breaths and letting them out slowly. We look out over the water and we can actually see it is so clear. We can see beautiful colored fish swimming in the water. So beautiful. It is so peaceful. We know that we can come back to this beach anytime that we desire. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. I am going to count from 5 backwards. We will take a deep breath and let it out slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Open your eyes slowly. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Peace and
Peace,
blessings.
Peace and blessings.